strangely, I can see
Hello,
what's on your...
a really warm welcome to another courageous conversation. And this is a live conversation. We have, as per usual, a few little tech issues. I hope you'll be patient with us, but I do actually have our guest live. So today I'm speaking with Regina Orchard, and I'll just share a little with you. So, Regina's passion for solutions has led her on a rich and winding path, including permaculture design, community building, arts and massage therapies, vibrational healing with plants. She's an author. She does naïve clowning, wellness, and sustainability facilitation, and now onto a new role helping plants to sing. All her work and hobbies have key threads of the power of recognition, both to our own selves and the quantum being one. Her joys are showing that we are always creators, and the mutual support of moving forward with her tribe, especially the wonderful. So welcome to you, Regina. It's lovely to have you with us.
Thank you, Pollyanna. It's a pleasure to be here.
And I know you're new to Tree Sisters, and I'd really love you to share, to begin, what drew you to our community.
Well, of course, it was another tree sister. I'd met her briefly and looked at her Facebook post, which was about the Sing for the Trees, which was coming up 3 weeks' time. And I was just drawn right in. For me to be able to connect with women connecting with trees and singing, it just connected very deeply, and immediately I was in.
Yay. And you had a Sing for the Trees activity, didn't you, in Melbourne?
Yes, I was quite surprised that we ended up with 15 women who came. I hadn't had a lot of tree discussions with people. Certainly some had heard plants sing through my devices, but I didn't understand how deeply women would just respond and really want to be out there singing with the trees. It was beautiful.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm very curious about where your journey with trees and plants began.
I think probably like most people, very early. I've thought a bit about that myself. Even when I was very little, we used to love playing amongst the trees and amongst the plants, and then I think when I was about 7 or 8, I started boiling up gum leaves and making perfumes and things like that. Then it's ranged through from vegetable gardening to flower remedies, and really meditating and communicating with the plants right through to now.
Beautiful. So I would really love to hear about the singing plants and trees, because it totally fascinates me. I just find it really amazing that we can hear plants and trees sing. And I'm also, if you could share with us about that, but also I'd really love to hear about what you receive from helping the plants to sing.
Okay, I hear you. There's a lot I could say, so I will pare it down, and then if there's particular things you're interested in, please draw out more information. There's a eco-spiritual community that started in Italy back in the 70s called Damanhur, and they did a lot of research with communicating with plants. And the item, this little, let's see, can you see that? This little gizmo is a mobile, basically biofeedback and synthesizer. So that allows we have biofeedback on people to take pulses and many things. So this is, and lie detecting, and this is similar to lie detecting. It's taking the electromagnetic frequencies or the resonances, which normally we can't hear. And there's been research by a wonderful Australian woman, Monica Gagliano, amongst others, which show that plants do make sounds and that other plants do hear them, but normally we don't hear them. So this takes what we can't hear. So it's in the unheard range of frequencies. It takes it and puts them into our hearing range. And then using synthesizers, you can then choose different sounds, which as you tune into the plant, to be able to give them what you feel they're wanting to be sounding like. So that's sort of the basis of it. What it gives to me, when I first heard the music, my heart was very, very affected, and it brought me to tears. And especially the Damanhur people were explaining how they work with the trees, and how they work with the grandmother trees, and help connect trees back into their networks. As you would probably, many of the listeners would understand that if a grandmother tree is like the hub of a network and the holder of the information and keeps everybody connected, all the trees connected. So if a grandmother tree is lost, and as we know, so many are being lost at the moment, then the whole forest can be disconnected. Damanhur people are working with others to reconnect those trees together, and then reconnect the grandmother trees around the world, building back those networks, the worldwide network that used to be there.
Wow.
So when I heard about all this, yes, I was just so very touched, and I brought home one of these devices, and myself and my family, I was surprised that I wasn't the only one who was really affected by it in the family. And I felt like my power center, my heart and solar plexus were just really being nurtured and fed by the music. And they've had a lot of powerful healing effects on people. And a lot of people say that it's so familiar. The music is strange and different, but it's so familiar because it's from nature, and it's what we're used to, what we're familiar with. There you go.
Wow, that's awesome. So I just want to go back to something you said, which was, you said that the plants and the trees are emitting these sounds that are outside through their bioresonance, and they're communicating with one another in that way. Is that what you said? Because that kind of blew my mind.
Yes, it did. There was would you like a really simple example of a test that was done to show that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so this was done at the University of Western Australia. So again, it was Monica. She had seedling trays, because it was, as she said, trees are too big to put in the laboratory. So she had grain seedlings, and she had very, very sensitive microphone kind of things to pick up any sounds. And indeed, when seedlings in one tray started emitting sounds, seedlings on the other side of the laboratory turned their roots towards the roots of the other plants that were making the sounds.
Wow. Wow. It just makes me think, we know so little, like we understand so little about the other beings that inhabit the earth, and there's all this stuff going on around us all the time, and we're essentially oblivious. And there's something, profoundly magical about being able to bring the subtlety of the plant realm, into our awareness. I know you've got one of the devices hooked up to a plant right now, and it would be wonderful if you could share some of those sounds with everybody.
I'd love to. So I'll introduce you. I'll introduce you to today's musician. Here we go. Here's today's musician. Little pansies or violets, I forget. I had them last year and they've managed to keep, after all the big flowering last Mother's Day, they're coming back again for this Mother's Day. I'm just turning it on. Okay.
Wow.
This plant has not been playing for months, so when they start, they often do this kind of repetitive, finding the scales and seeing what they can do. What I'll do, sorry about all the wobbly, what I'll do is I will plug this into a different plant if it's willing. It wasn't really keen to play early today, but I think it might be willing just to give us a bit of a feeling for what a mature musician's like. This beautiful peace lily.
So I'm curious, do they respond if you sing back? Like if the plant is playing certain notes and you sing to it, does it change what it's singing?
Yes, absolutely. Another thing too, just, here we go, just to take it into the next step, is that plants learn, and so as musicians they learn. They will hear music around them, they will hear music when other plants play it, and they will learn and develop their music like all musicians do. Some plants are more apt to do that than others, and I found also that the more healing the music, the more beautiful.
Uh-oh. So here we are with a technical difficulty right here in our live conversation. So do bear with us because I'm sure Regina will come back. She obviously got a call or a text or something and it's booted her out of the app. So how amazing is this? That the plants are singing to each other and that they can learn and that they can adapt their singing and that we can sing back to them and they will respond. It's just, it's completely beautiful. So, no, Debbie, you didn't. I heard something bing on Regina's phone and I think that booted her off. So hello to all of you who are watching, Debbie and Donna and Living Legacy Forest and Ursula and Brianna. Yeah, so I'm hoping that Regina will come back really soon. You might think about if you have a question to ask her when we get her back, do put it in the comments and we'll see if we can ask. How amazing. It's completely amazing what is going on all around us all the time that we're not consciously aware of. And I was actually thinking last night about everything that the earth has given, like everything that's been given to me in my own life, everything that the earth is offering that mostly I haven't asked permission for, like the fuel that's driving my car and the gas that is providing heat and hot water and, you know, even the metal and the plastic on my glasses frame, everything, absolutely everything in my life, everything I can see has come from the earth. And what, you know, in what ways can I give back? And one of the ways that I give back is to donate for reforestation through Tree Sisters, because we have 8 amazing projects in 6 different countries that are protecting biodiversity and rebuilding forest environments. And I guess one of the other things we can do is sing for the trees and plants and be in that level of communication and reciprocity that is possible. So I can only fill in so much time before it becomes difficult. So I'm just going to see if I can get hold of Regina. And if you do have questions for her, do put them in the comments. Okay. So I hope everyone has been enjoying our campaign interviews. Hopefully you've listened to some of the incredible conversations that Claire has been having as part of the campaign. So she spoke to Dr. Vandana Shiva last week. We've got Starhawk coming up today. It's an amazing conversation with Isabella Tree, who has a rewilding project in Sussex. We opened on Earth Day with Woman Stands Shining, Pat McCabe, which was a brilliant conversation about consent in all areas of our lives. And so worth listening to. And if you want access to all of those conversations, you can have that free by signing up at callingallwomen.me, which is ME. And we'd really love you to do that and to invite all your friends into that as well. And last night we did 2 really beautiful sistering calls where we got a whole load of tree sisters from all over the world onto a Zoom call where we could see each other and hear each other. And we did the sistering practice that is at the heart of Tree Sisters, that is all about deeply connecting to one another in full presence and full attention to call forth and love all of who we are. And it was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful experience. So I am not sure whether Regina is going to come back to us. I think what I'm going to do is end this broadcast and see if I can get her back, and I will restart it. So stay with us on our page. I'm going to disappear and get Regina back and then go live again.